Hello and welcome to our fourth episode.
Fourth.
Fourth episode, yeah, fourth episode of whatever this is podcast. I guess is what we're informally calling it right now. I am Ellohime, and with me is Poff. We basically, I have Poff scour the internet for news stories or things he wants me to react to. I don't look at them beforehand, and I just give my honest, on-the-spot reaction. We've been doing this a couple of weeks. Last week, we missed episodes. So for those of you who have been watching the first several weeks, we thank you for your patience. Back to school was a little difficult, and just needed a week to kind of settle in. But we're back. Going to be making episodes, and I don't know. Pop, you got anything to say?
No, I'm glad.
They missed you for a whole week.
It was seven whole days. And one thing, right? I didn't realize that, I've started to look forward to this as well, right? Just sitting here for an hour, like kind of disconnecting from real life, going on Reddit, which can be a great or horrible experience, and then just kind of shooting the breeze has become actually one of the highlights of my week. So let's keep doing it. And
Yeah,
thanks
man.
everybody who's watching.
Yeah, I know that it can be daunting for you having to get out of the. We send you out. See, what we do is we tie a rope to him so that if he gets too lost, he can just kind of tug on the, and then we drag him back in. So he's totally safe. Don't worry about it. But yeah, man, we appreciate all your hard work getting out there on the internet. It's dangerous out there.
Yeah, so I ended up in Canada looking for these stories, and I found myself a Roots sweatshirt. So if you know, you know.
I don't know, so I'll have to learn because I don't know what that is.
It's a premier clothing brand in Canada, and it's incredibly comfortable.
Oh, well, that sounds awesome. I feel like I'm in a commercial now. Well, and how? That sounds amazing. How would one get one of these shirts?
Well, if they ever want to sponsor us, we can find out.
Anyways, all right. We got several stories here. It looks like they're coming from Reddit this week. That's kind of where we've been staying. So we're gonna jump right in. I'm gonna throw it up here. Do. Look at that. That way you guys can read along if you choose to. All right. And we're gonna give this my college best here. What is WIBTA? See, now I've got a whole new acronym to learn. I'm not good on Reddit, okay? I barely go. I know what Reddit is, and I like read things, but I'm not in it. So
in this context, Elo, this is a hypothetical of what they're planning to do. So it's asking, will I be the asshole?
So they're preemptively thinking they may be the asshole and then coming to Reddit for like a litmus test on whether or not I'm going to be the asshole.
That's exactly where I would go for real life advice.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Okay, well, I guess if you want a diverse, amount of opinions from a lot of different places, I guess that would be one way to get some information, get a little feedback. All right, so will I be the asshole? Let me go ahead and get this story going. Will I be the asshole for taking my wife on a date night with tickets I won, even though her friend assumed she'd be my wife's number one or plus one, and I never previously showed interest in the event? For taking my wife on a date with tickets I want, even though her friend assumed she'd be my wife's plus one, and I never previously showed. Okay. That's interesting. Let's hop in. Last week, my wife, female 30, asked me, female 30, to enter a lottery-style drawing to get tickets for a popular event in our area. The tickets are free, but most are allocated by random drawing to people who pre-register. You can only pre-register for a max of 2 tickets. Some tickets are also available at the door on first-come, first-served basis. My wife, her friend B, also female, Jesus, they're all in their 30s, and B's friend C is also a female who's 30. Okay, so 30 females, okay. Usually all register for the drawing hoping that at least one of them can snag 2 tickets. If B gets tickets, she usually gives my wife first choice if she wants to go. But if C gets tickets, she takes B. If my wife gets tickets, she takes B. Okay. All right. I will follow that if I feel like it's relevant, but I get it. There's like a preordained order here. A handful of times they snagged 4 tickets and invited me. I always decline because it's not an event that really excites me, and my wife is perfectly happy to enjoy the night with her friends. Last week, my wife asked me to enter for tickets because this month's theme is uniquely interesting to her. I'll admit I was slightly annoyed. We're in the middle of a very chaotic couple of weeks where we've had very little time for us to connect as a couple. I was a little put off by the thought of entering a drawing to win tickets for my wife to use with her friends on one of the few nights we have free in a 3-week period, and I gently said as much. But I also love my wife and recognize that this event brings her joy. I made an entry and promptly forgot about it. Lo and behold, I was the one to be selected for tickets, just 2 tickets. Now, I want to take my wife on a date night. I immediately told my wife that if she'd rather go with B for any reason, that's totally fine. Okay, that's cool. Excuse me. But she also wants a date night. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to spend time together in a way that she has always wanted. B asked my wife about the entries and was upset with the update because she thought me winning the tickets meant she'd be going with my wife. We reminded B that she and C could, the P and C could, Jesus, I feel like it's like Dr. Seuss, like thing 1 and thing 2. Could be there early for tickets at the door, which are usually pretty readily available, but never 100% certainty. B's response was salty. She and C won't go if they don't have confirmed tickets. She also reminded my wife about one time she entered an unrelated drawing for us, which none of us won. I knew B would be disappointed and reasonably expected to be my wife's +1. I've never wanted to go in the past, and the last time they spoke about it, my wife had told B that I was entering the lottery, but that if we won 4 tickets, I had a scheduling conflict, which at the time was true. I'm fully aware that it was perfectly reasonable for B to think that if I won the tickets, it would be the same as if my wife won them. The 2 of them would go. But the sharpness of her reaction has me questioning whether I'm the asshole. So am I the asshole for wanting to use tickets I want on a date night with wife, even though I didn't initially want to go and her friend was under the impression she'd be my wife's +1? Oh, I mean, no, I don't think anyone here is necessarily an asshole. Maybe friend B is being a little entitled, but I can understand why they would feel disappointment or feel a little salty if it wasn't discussed before. It just seems like one of those situations where like you think one thing is going to happen that week, you know, like you expect a way the week is going to go, and it just kind of changes on you as the week unfolds, and then you get to it and you go, oh well, context has changed a little bit, so therefore, so I can see why she would be disappointed, but I don't think that I don't think it's wrong for them to want to take their wife, especially if I think they should just talk to, they should just talk to, she should just talk to B, right? I went through all the pronouns there. I was like, he, they, she, yeah, I think that you should just talk to B and say, hey, normally it's like this and it's cool, but context is a little different this week. You know, we haven't had much time together, something like that. I don't know. I feel like just communicate with B should be good, and that should be able to clear it up if you're all friends. You'd agree, disagree, Paul?
Yeah, so with this one, I would say not yet, as to being the asshole, but you could be, right? It really depends,
Yeah.
how you communicate this, right? Like if you explain yourself reasonably, and you aren't the type of person that overtly exercises your right and your entitlement because you're the one who won the tickets, and you don't use it to put anyone down or to kind of dig it in, um, or try to use a fallacy to make you correct in the situation, then you're not. But if you do any of that, or if you start to bring up these things, um, to try to get them to back off without just simply saying, "Hey, I'm the one who won these tickets. I know this is the norm, but we're going to break from that because we haven't had the chance to spend a lot of time together." Uh, you know, then you're not. But as of right now, I see it as just kind of okay. It's unfortunate, but this other person, C, and B are choosing not to show up and wait in the line. So it's not going to be, a 4 by girls night out. It's just going to be a 2 by, which is, just the situation on hand. Still still could be very fun if everyone, just showed up, won the tickets, or perhaps, if they wanted to go bad enough, bought some tickets, secondhand. I'm sure that that's available wherever this is. I'm kind of curious what this event is,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. So hold on a second. Do you think I find it interesting that that B says she and C won't go if they don't have confirmed tickets, right? What do you take from that? Do you feel like that is a salty entitled position? Or do you think there's a little salt in there because she's like, well, we're just not even going to go? Or do you think that they are just keeping with norms that they normally don't go and stand in the line?
It's fair to infer that they're doing that as a point, right, to try to confirm their situation and make their own lives easier, or B, they're just not risk takers.
Right.
Their own time.
Yeah. I do wonder what this event is that it's like often enough. Did they say how often it was? I don't remember reading that. Monthly. Oh, well,
This month's theme implies it's monthly.
Yeah, okay, here's the thing too. If it's like a monthly thing and this is something that they could get back into at another time, then I don't think, like, if this was a concert that was happening only once a year or more, like we may never see them tour again, and we've been big fans for, whatever. We're going to see Bon Jovi or whatever the hell it is, like maybe then there'd be more at stake too, right? You got to understand what's at stake in order to see the full context of it. It seems like this is like, I don't know, like a local thing that happens monthly, like you said. And if you don't get to go one month, you just, hey, them's the ropes. You try to be understanding and you hit it next month. And you try again, like,
yeah.
I don't think this person's the ass. I totally, it's funny that it's so small there. So they grade them and tell them they're not the asshole either. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so what I was
Oh my God, I just realized I had the wrong story up that whole time. Like on the thing. Well, this is the story we were talking about. Don't read anything that you saw before then. We don't make mistakes on this show. The show's a perfect show. It's a perfect show. It's a perfect show.
As intended.
Yeah. We definitely that was we just wanted the engagement in the comments for you to go, hello, Pop, you got the wrong story. And we're like, yeah, see what we're doing? We're actually masterminds. It should be the right story now. Just throwing that out there. And there you go. You can read the whole thing, everybody, now. And
now you get to form your opinion.
Now you get to you couldn't form your opinion until just, well, we'll give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and read and get through it, and you can join us. No.
So imagine this is a lottery for a relay or a marathon, right? Like, because they do lotteries for those because people love to show up and run, like a ton of people do.
Yeah,
I don't
like mud runs or
that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Or think like, I don't know why my mind keeps jumping to this, but like it's screaming at me. This is kind of like one of those themed trivia nights, right? That they run a couple times, and they're kind of hard to get into when it's at a small crowded bar.
Yeah, but usually if you're going to do a trivia night, you got like a team, like a small team, not everybody, not all the time, but usually you have like every now and then you get one of those smarty pants that just shows up by themselves and dominates, but like, I usually trivia is done. I would think in small teams, but I guess the friends could have gone. I mean, maybe, I don't know. We could spend forever sitting here trying to figure out what this actually is. I think that's honestly more interesting than the story itself. It's like, what exactly are they all fighting over to get into that is both appealing enough for three of them, but not one also good enough that you want to try for free tickets, but you don't want to stand in a line to see if you can get in at the day of the show. Like, this has got to be something so I don't know how to say it, like middle of the road fun. It's got to be something so middle of the road or specific fun that, like, if we were to know what it was, we would be like, oh, what the fuck even is this? You know, like, what are we even getting into? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like them not saying anything is like telling too. I feel like they should have just been like, it's line dancing or it's whatever, you know, like it's a small concert, local band or whatever, you know. I don't know. No, I think it's fair. You just got to communicate. I know that we always come back to that, but you just got to communicate. You just got to talk to them and just be like, hey, we've had a tough week. I really need this. Normally I would send you guys, but this is an opportunity for me to spend some time with my wife that I need, you know? And if friend B is a good friend, then friend B will understand when they need to, when they're being, especially if they haven't been asked often, right? Like if you come to, like if I go to one of my wife's friends and said, hey, I might need to step in here, that would be like, not something that happens like ever at all, right? Like the favor you're asking for is not a reoccurring or, you know, a normal favor. I think that gives it more credence. I think that lets the person know like, oh, this is a bigger deal, you know? So yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I don't think that she's being an asshole wanting to go with her wife. And I don't think the friend's necessarily being an asshole for being a little hurt about it. But if they talk about it and the friend's still insisting or pushing or whatever, then there's like a bigger situation unfolds. But right now, I think you just got to talk to friend B. Talk to friend B. Say, hey, I want to go. It's a special situation. I know we were kind of leaning in this other thing, but like, I promise you, next month or, you know, the next time I win the tickets, it's 100% yours. I really need this, you know, and she needs it too. You know, like we need this together. It's not always just about, you know, OP, right? OP is saying this is good for both of them or would be good for both of them. So I don't know. Any last thoughts?
Yeah. I'm just hoping that they're going to some play that turns out to be really fun and interesting. And I've been sitting here thinking about the last one that I saw the entire time, which was over in Europe. Me and my friend group, we actually won a drawing to get into a play called Everything Goes Wrong, and everyone should check that out.
Yeah,
It's
you enjoy
hilarious,
it.
and they're on YouTube.
You know what's kind of crazy about like musicals and Broadway and stuff like that is I think people get a weird vibe about it from seeing, like usually the first thing you see now is like a movie or like a show that's a musical, and you don't get like the same, or like you don't get the same vibe as going and watching a show. Like it is such a different thing to like go and be live for a musical or for a play in a way that like can never be captured in film. And actually, like when you try to capture it in film, you kind of lose some of the magic of it being in person. Like even just stuff, little things like set changes can be extremely interesting just to watch how they do it, or have people on stage that are not part of the show moving and doing things, and the creativity that comes with like putting on, you know, what is like sort of like a super advanced puppet show, you know? So yeah, well, cool. Yeah. I really just wish we knew what this was. I really wish, we knew what it was, but, I guess we'll never know. Huh?
Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Yeah. I don't, not the asshole. But then again, I'm rarely like, yeah, this person's the asshole. But yeah, I don't feel it's the asshole. I don't know. If you got comments, maybe we're missing something down below. Feel free. You guys are more than welcome to participate. And we also, because there's, you know, not a ton of you guys that are fans of the show yet, we respond to basically everybody and like read everything. So yeah, if you got a thought, let us know about any of these stories. But we're going to go ahead and move to the next story, which I'm definitely going to set up so that you guys can see it in its entirety. And I'm not going to make a mistake because I'm very good at this. All right. It's all set up. All right. Story number 2. Am I the asshole for telling my obesity enabling stepmom that she's ruining her son's life? Oh, this is an interesting start. I, female 22, have a stepmom, female 40. She has an 11-year-old kid with my father. Let's call him Cal. My half-brother Cal is obese, 79 kgs. Okay, I'm American. Forgive me for my sins of being American. What is 79 kgs?
174 pounds.
174 pounds at 11.
That's pretty big.
Can you Google the national average for
Oh, I can.
I mean, I don't think this is America, but let's. I'm super curious. Cal is an extremely picky eater. There are only 4 to 5 dishes that he eats. I mean, we can understand that it's obviously like not a good weight for an 11-year-old, but I want to know how far off the mark so I can get like
About 100 pounds over.
about 100 pounds. That is.
Yep.
That is. There are only 4 to 5 dishes that he eats. One of these is French fries. He eats fries as a meal, not as a side to anything, and the quantity is equivalent to about 2.5 packs of McDonald's large fries. Sounds like this kid knows what he likes and is absolutely right and should never change. No. In an average week, he ends up eating fries 6 to 8 times, while other meals being rice with some sort of gravy or curry topped with lots of potato chips for the crunch. Sounds weird, tastes great. There are literally no vegetables or fruits in his diet. Apart from the occasional apple, he does not eat chicken, eggs, meat, fish, or any other type of protein except for a big tall glass of chocolate milk he has every day, which is packed with sugar. Oh, man. My stepmom, who is also obese, has allowed this to go on for 11 years, which is a really bad time to set up life habits without ever trying to change his eating habits. I added that part for anyone listening, that other part. I'm sure you could tell by the change of the voice. I get that she has a lot on her plate, no shade intended, but she has never put an effort to get him to try new and healthy foods. She asked once or twice, but he begins to throw tantrums. As children do, she budges. I have told her multiple times that she just let him stay hungry for a few meals. Okay, that's not the way to do it either. If he is so reluctant to try foods that are good for him, she responds by calling me heartless for wanting my brother to starve. Eventually, over the years, I began giving her suggestions like air frying his fries instead of deep frying them. But she said that he can always tell when they are air fried and that he rejects them. Now, here's what happened today. My mom left for work, and she usually does after 11. And she usually does after 11 at around 1:30, instructed me to provide Cal with cookies and milk for snacks at around 4 p.m. Cal eats 6 chocolate chip cookies dipped in chocolate milk every day for his evening snack, but today he didn't ask for it, so I did not offer. When stepmom came home at 6, she was pissed off that I starved him. Cal told her that he did not want them today, to which she said, "Oh, so your sister got inside your head." I said, I am not going to offer an obese child unhealthy processed food unprompted. Cal can't even go play outside because he is physically unable to, and all he does is play video games all day. You are ruining his life like you ruined mine and yours. Jesus. She told me I have no right to decide how she raises her child because I don't understand how difficult motherhood is, and started crying loudly. My father, who usually sides with me on matters related to Cal's diet and weight, called me an ungrateful bitch for making her cry after all she does for us. I think maybe I crossed a line today. To be clear, as a former fat kid, I am deeply concerned for his lifestyle and well-being and don't want him to go through all the things that I did. My stepson's behavior is clearly enabling him. Am I the asshole for not participating? Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, dude. These are the kind of you know what? I would rather talk about like stuff like the Israel-Palestine conflict and stuff like this. I'm not even joking. Like, I feel more set in stone and connected on certain like political issues than I do on like issues like this. These are the issues that actually like make me really uncomfortable because context is so important here, and knowing the family history, like really knowing it, or like understanding mom's past, you know, like it's been mentioned a little bit, you know, oh, you ruined his life like you're ruining mine. Like, what does that mean? Was she doing this to her? How long has she been a stepmom? Like these, I feel like there's a lot of context here that could go into answering this. And I feel I have a bit of a weird approach too, because my daughter, She has a very specific diet due to medical stuff that I'm really not going to get into now. But she can only have a certain amount of protein a day, and finding foods for her that are low in protein have been very challenging for us. And so I wouldn't say she's not eating fries like this kid is, but fries is definitely a go-to for us because we can like give her something that tastes good to her and is a bit of a treat, but also isn't like packed with protein either. So we have leaned on some foods for our diet for our child, and specifically because of medical stuff too. I don't know what kind of medical situations are happening here either. You know, I'm sure she would say something, but sometimes people don't want to talk about those things for, you know, obviously clear reasons. So, yeah, but we'll just take this at face value. And I think at the very beginning, I should say that, like I said, kind of read into it earlier, is that setting up healthy habits for a child for the last 11 years of their life, they're 11 years old, is some of the most critical time of their life, in my opinion, to set these good habits. And changing those habits, while I think is important and the right choice to do, is going to probably at this point take like a professional. Like, I don't even think that it sounds like the stepmom doesn't have the tools she needs to take care of herself. So I don't know why she's being expected to provide for the 11-year-old in a meaningful way, though she should be able to. I agree. I think that actually there should be some sort of intervention or some professional or somebody else that can come in and kind of help with this, or even a nutritional coach or something that can educate them instead of like just throwing around accusations and claiming somebody's going to starve someone if they do this, or overfeed them if they do that. I think if you have a nutritionist that can actually sit down and objectively go, okay, here's what the research says. It's not coming from a place of you ruined my life and yours and all this stuff. And there's a much more foundational place to start from so that all of them can learn about nutrition. Because I don't think anybody in like, I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit of a ray here. I feel like also to not feed him, to like show him, to like teach him is not good either. Like, I don't think that that's like a positive thing for the child either. We shouldn't, because all that, in my opinion, and again, I'm not a nutritionist, I don't know, but to me as a father, I feel like all that would do was irritate the child and make them crave and want the things that they've had the last 11 years even more, and just lean into and relapse into them feeling starved. Because a person that young eating that much on that kind of a diet will feel starved, okay, in a small amount of time and be irritated by that in a very small amount of time. So we want healthy changes for them, for the entire family on a nutritional level that is going to both serve them on like a actual nutritional level, but also help their mental health and help them understand and educate them what good nutrition even looks like. Because it sounds like this is a family that really doesn't understand good nutrition to me.
Yeah, but they based on just all of the statements involved, right? Pride is clearly getting in the way. You know, I
Yes.
work hard for the family, so I use that as an excuse
Right.
to not feed you correctly. Like, you know, imagine how these doctor appointments are going, right? Because children go for yearly physicals at this age to make sure everything's developing correctly.
Should
These
be.
conversations are happening, but they're just walking away from it, right? And they're refusing to change their habits. So that's where pride's getting involved with it. And you know, obviously we don't know the financial situation of it, but you
Right.
know, super heavy carb foods, French fries, you know, the burgers, literally everything like that. It's significantly cheaper than eating healthy. You know, the
Correct.
cheapest that I can get chicken right now per pound is about 270 from Restaurant Depot right now, right? And that's if you buy 50 pounds at a time. Um, I'm pretty strongly educated when it comes to diet and nutrition, right? Like I've had my own health challenges, you know, but like I've been on a very specific alignment. Uh, diet, pretty much all the way through high school and college. Um, I wrestled, right, and there was times where I had to keep my energy up while cutting from wrestling 215 down to 186 in a
Yeah.
couple weeks. And both my grandparents who raised me, they both worked 60 hours a week, so it was very easy to come by McDonald's, but it was also very hard to come by 2,400 calories at 60 carbs per meal and 200 grams of protein per day. Like, learning that and following those meal plans, like, especially if you're going to have a kid, and uh being unwilling to shy away from stuff like that just because it's easy, and not letting bad habits form, right? Like, um you just can't do that, right? And something that we will both immediately agree on is you can't make this feel like a punishment to the kid for something that is really a parenting issue. You should do this slowly. Where you change it, you should, even though this child is 11, you should explain, like, hey, the way that you're going, you might be dead by 30, right? Like, hopefully they understand by the age of 11, like, health issues, or like kind of start to educate them on, hey, this is the stuff that goes wrong, right? Because obesity at this level, right, with all these comorbid I'm sorry, comorbidities,
You got
uh
it.
leads to yeah, I know, right? That's a fun one to say it 5 times
Yeah.
fast right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? um what that'll lead to, right, is obstructive sleep apnea, which as a male is basically instant low testosterone, which immediately leads to extremely high insulin resistance, which drives your A1C up into the 15 range, which is uncontrolled diabetes. And once you have crazy uncontrolled diabetes, there's a ton of great control medicines out there nowadays, also with the side effects of helping you lose weight, right? Which you shouldn't just use to just use. Um, but once you go there, you don't go back, and you
Right.
can correct the habit with exercise. But everything that we do, it's 90% nutrition and 10% exercise. Really, for changing lifelong habits like this, and you got to get the pride out of the way. You have to be able to have fun while doing it, right? Little things like maybe playing some soccer, playing some football, learning to cook together, making a family activity, all these little things, reading a book are some things that I would recommend doing. But we got to get the pride out of the way, and we got to not be insulting. But 100%, my first thought is not the asshole on this one. I don't know how you're feeling. Uh,
She's got her brother's I think she's got her heart's in the right place, right? I think that she's identified a real problem in her family dynamic, which by the way, that in and of itself in a family dynamic is really, really difficult, especially as a child is noticing it towards a parent. It's going to be really hard to get them to listen or change. But I think that she does have everybody's best interest at heart, especially her brother's. She's identified the problem, but it sounds like she doesn't have the tools either to be able to move the needle on this in any meaningful way without causing more damage. It sounds like even if she were to be reasonable, which it seems pretty reasonable that she was, even though like I said, I criticized her a little bit on the whole keeping him from foods thing. I don't agree with that. I think that she is in a reasonable place with a reasonable problem, and getting from, at least from her perspective, if this can be believed, some, like you said, manipulative responses, and also just simply not either agreeing with the problem or willing to deal with the problem, right? So that's why I say this is a mental thing. This is somebody, this is like therapy worthy, like, to me. Like, I think that this is something that you would need help from the outside. That's my biggest thing, is just because they're not just going to need to change their diet. Their mentality has to change. Their mindset has to change. Like, and that kind of change is so difficult. It's difficult to do for one person, but it's difficult to do for an entire family together, if they're all that way and it's become the family culture, you know, that means that, because what happens are little things that people don't think about, like, oh, I'm making healthy changes for the 11-year-old. I'm no longer going to get the fries. Well, now dad, he used to grab a few of the fries, actually likes the fries. He wants you to buy the fries again. You know, so now there's an argument about what kind of fries to buy. Do you buy the, you know, like just little things like that can be so integrated into the culture of a family that it can cause so many rifts that you really just have, you really got to take it a day at a time. And it's going to be, it took 11 years to get here. And it's going to take years in order to undo and unravel all that too. And I do agree that there is a problem. I don't think an 11-year-old kid should be having chocolate with chocolate cookies every day. Like, that's not how I let my daughter eat. It's not how I think anybody should be eating, really. Yeah, this has got to be a change. And I think that the change will have to start with, until this 11-year-old gets out on his own, I think the change is going to have to start with the stepmom, right? And the parents in general. Because if you can motivate or change or get the stepmom information or get her, motivate her to make good choices and stuff, that lifestyle will trickle down to her 11-year-old, like naturally. Now, how she's going to have to go about that if she did decide to make that change will have to be a whole other thing to get this 11-year-old out of the habits that they've created for him. Which I do say that created for him, because he is a child. He's 11 years old. He relies on her. He is, under their house. He can't go grocery shopping. He doesn't have the money to buy the food that he would want, even if he didn't want it, And it sounds like, from the situation that was described too, between the mom and the sister, like her missing the meal or not giving it because he asked, and him saying specifically, I didn't want it today, seemed to have no bearance on the stepmom's position in all this either, which is like a little scary, because then I truly do start to kind of see what the female's saying. The female, I see the female. Sorry, I'm looking at the F22. The daughter, I guess, is saying is like her battle is not about like the 11-year-old's obesity right now. That is the crux of the argument. Her battle right now is with the stepmom. It seems like, in order to change mentalities, and that just seems like it's going to be a big hurdle, to say the least. I'm sorry, that makes it sound like that was not a joke in any way. I didn't mean to go big twice, with it. Like, I didn't mean to. I don't want anyone to read into that. This is going to be tough. All right, it's going to be tough. It's gonna be tough,
and it's fine. We're two linemen sitting on a call. Like, we're not throwing stones. We live.
Yeah. And like Pop said, like I did wrestling. I cut for weight. I did MMA for a long time. I have been overweight. I'm overweight right now. I'm still working on it. Actually, Pop and I were just talking about choices that we were making to better our lifestyles just right before this call, actually. So. This is something that it's not even just like you're going to get the help you need and then you're set. This is something you will have to work on, like your life. Like a lot of us do. All of us are dealing with our diets, whether or not it's a good diet or a bad diet. We all have choices that we're making. We're all having to decide for our own bodies, So yeah. If I were to say anything to the daughter, I would say education. Like, find ways to be non-confrontational and add, try to add conversations about nutrition, or try to find ways. There may be, and like you said, money is a factor too here, for sure. That was a great point. But maybe if there's a way to even just say, hey, Mom, can we listen, I have this thing, I can set it up. It's not too expensive, or I'll pay for it, or whatever. It'll get us on a call with a nutritionist for like 30 minutes, just asking a few questions, talking about the situation. Maybe we can figure something out, because it just doesn't seem like a good way to live our lives. Maybe something like that, so it doesn't seem so pointed. It doesn't seem so blamey, because people are going to be way more receptive to you if you don't start out by blaming them or putting the responsibility on them right away or anything like that. Come from a non-confrontational position and just try to educate. Just try to find ways to Get that mentality started in the right way, you know. And not only that, if you're really truly out of options, the other thing I can say is that, you know, taking care of yourself can sometimes be a great inspiration for the people in your life. And sometimes if the daughter you know, starts working on her own self and her own body, and, you know, does some runs every day and has a bunch of energy and is participating in things and doing things, that 11-year-old will see that. Okay. That 11-year-old is opening his eyes to everything around him and is absorbing everything he's seeing. And that includes her decisions as well. When at some point when he looks at himself or looks at his stepmom and sees them sitting on the couch having to prick themselves for insulin and all that stuff, and then he's seeing his sister who is thriving and is running, doing exercise, looking good, having energy, living a lifestyle like that, that could have big changes for a young person too. So, but that's like, you know, a shot in the dark. And you got to understand sometimes the things you can and can't control. That's another thing too. There may be no helping this situation as much as she wants to. She might just hit a roadblock with the stepmom and the 11-year-old, because the stepmom's not wrong. It's her child. It's her business. But I don't think that means that the daughter's not involved at all, right? Like, but the stepmom, it is her child. It is her choice at the end of the day. You know, you can respect that to a point. But this might be unresolvable in the current situation in which it resides to begin with. You know, it just, the context here just might be so overwhelming that it just might not even be attainable. And she should, again, take care of herself and make good choices for herself. And then maybe when her brother is old enough to be out of the house or out of the from under the influence, then yeah, I wonder if there's like, I'm just curious, is there a point like where you can, like, with the weight of a child, where you can claim that a parent is being negligent?
Get out of my head. I was sitting there waiting for it. So that was going to be my question to you, is at what point, like, because just reading this, the like words of neglect and abuse, right?
Right.
And we don't know that.
Abuse
But
can take different. When we say abuse, I want you guys to understand that abuse takes very many forms, and it doesn't have to be physical abuse, right? A lot of people
right.
have like a very one line idea of abuse. You know, abuse has many different forms. Okay, and
Right.
a lot of them can be lifestyle stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's like it comes to the point where it's like, okay, like this child has a BMI of 54, right? And it why I'm educated enough to go, it's probably around that. It could be a little lower, could be a little higher. Um, you know, that's the point where you just ask for somebody to go garner a specific perspective of the situation so they can make a choice to that. I I think that if this is the way that you're setting your child up for success, which is failure, um, based on this, that there does need to be somebody to come in, and there's no way that it doesn't become a defensive situation where they try to, like, you know, get angry, like, this is the best for our kid, like this is where they need to leave, right? Like, or this is where they need to live, not be taken away. I think there's a case for it. I think it would be on a case by case basis, but considering that both of us were thinking the same thing, and I'm not a parent and you are, objectively, I think that there is absolutely a case for neglect and potentially removal from the household.
Right, and then that
Unless
becomes a whole other fucking mess. Because I can't Google foo. Do you mind just like doing a quick search just on like weight of kid considered negligent, something like that? I haven't really thought about it like this, but like there has to be a point where like you're killing him. Like if the child is like sleeping and he's getting like sleep apnea and he's like not breathing for 20 seconds at a time, and then like, like some overweight people or kids can do, like,
yeah, so this is a generally Googled thing, because it came up as, can a child be removed from a parent, is where I was at for being overweight, was one of the top ones, right? So either Google's listening or
it's listening.
it's questioning a lot,
It's
right?
listening to everything.
Yeah. So yeah, health. the health of the child, right, is definitely a primary factor, right? And when it's taken to court and the child's health is at risk due to their weight, then absolutely, it's a primary consideration. It's the health of the
Well,
child. It's the
then
entirety of the
I mean, if that's the case, then then it becomes like, man, that's tough. That's really tough. That's one of those tough situations, man, where it's like it's really gonna have. It sounds like it's gonna have to fall on this daughter, and if she makes a tough call, it's just gonna rip her family apart, And but like if she's seeing actual signs that this kid's life is in danger, which I know a lot of people would just see a 175-pound 11-year-old and go, oh yeah, he's in danger. But I mean, like if there's, like I said, like sleep apnea, like she's observing that he's not breathing for periods of time in the night or something like that, or if he's like catatonic, at certain points, or if he, yeah, there is definitely a line where, hey, maybe you need to call somebody. It just,
right.
there's so much to weigh with that decision that like it may be, like you said, like where does the kid live if it is deemed, bad? Does he go to an orphanage? Does he live with a family member? Then that becomes a whole thing. And it's like it's like this gets really messy so quick. That's what I'm saying. Like situations like this are so much more uncomfortable for me because like finding a truth or like an answer is like so it's so obscured. It's so obscured. Yeah.
It's so hard to not subjectively project, right? Because when I read the line, "You are ruining my life like you ruined mine and yours," and I think about a 22-year-old. I think about they recently probably just left the school system, right? And I know kids are kids' worst enemies, right? Kids don't mince words; they tell the truth, right? And can you imagine, what's being said to a 185-pound 11-year-old
Oh
that's
God.
going to school, right? And what rings true to me is if this 22-year-old is talking about some trauma, right? Because she's most likely not experiencing major health issues yet, even if as a 22-year-old female, she's morbidly overweight. Sorry, I was trying to say grotesquely, but let's keep it fair. Um, that she's probably dealing with that trauma, and that's what's leading to a lot of this heat, and bringing that. So that's kind of how I feel it, right? Because like, as a lineman, right, you hear those jokes, right, as you're growing up. Can still name a few of them, right, that cut really deep.
Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, we know. Oh, we know. But yeah, if you're 11, like 185, that's a whole other ballpark, man. You're just like
That's rough.
so prime for just everybody dogging on you. Um, yeah, I got to say, my heart really goes out to OP and honestly the whole family. That's rough. I really hope the stepmom can get some help. I hope the whole family can get help. I hope the kid can get help. I hope the daughter can get. It just sounds like just a family culture dysfunction that is so embedded that in order to like rip it out and reset things is going to it's going to be like it's like remodeling a house. You're going to have to break down all the walls and all that shit just to get started, rebuilding, So that's tough. That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm really curious to see if anybody has any opinions in the comments about it. Just because this is just like just one of those things, man. It's just really opinionated. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. It's convoluted and it's got just so many levels of things that have to be addressed and worked on that like it is. It feels insurmountable, and I bet that the OP feels super helpless, which is not a fun position to be in with like worrying for the health of your loved ones, It's like being able to not help, when you have a big heart and stuff. But who knows, man? Maybe they'll turn things around. I really hope they do. But I don't know if I
Yep.
have much more to say. I mean, I have a ton more to say about it. Like if we were to do, we could do a whole episode on this shit. But I think for now,
Yeah.
I think it's about where I'm willing to go. You got any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah. Just kind of the way that I think I would solve it, and you might agree, you might not, but if that child was presented to me in my care, even though I'm not the foremost fan of children that aren't uh fully developed up here yet, right? Like I don't like young adults that scream and do all that weird stuff. Like I just kind of I prefer people my age, right? Um, but yeah, I think small, frequent, healthy meals, probably for 6 months to a year, for this young man into probably just a sport that they enjoy, a couple times a week is probably how we fix this one. I don't know
Yeah.
if you do anything different.
No, I mean, you might want to get creative. Every kid's, this is one thing they say, and I'll say this just because you pointed out that like I have a kid and you don't, nana nana boo boo. But the other part of that is it's every kid is different, and sometimes general advice can work, but a lot of times you have to intimately know your child and you have to make choices of what you need to do for them knowing who they are as a person. So some things may work and others may not, and you need to be willing to really understand your child enough to maybe get outside of the box and find other alternatives for exercise. It might be a situation where, hey, you can play Fortnite for an hour, but you got to do 15 minutes of Wii Fit. Even something as small, like finding something that fits in his interests that also encourages a healthier lifestyle, maybe alternatives for things that you can do as well. So finding video games that are active or getting him a VR headset that is active, having an actual program that is like a workout program, but gamifies the program. There may be other ways. It sounds like the kid enjoys games. So like many 11-year-olds. So I feel like there's probably room for there to be fun, interactive ways and not just all right, pick up heavy thing, put down heavy thing, or, walk or run, that they might find that to be a little too boring to really get involved in a real way. So I agree with you 100%. I would probably try to get to know Cal and what Cal's interests are, and then try to come up with creative ways to fit that into his lifestyle. And like you said, there, even just small changes, like if he went from just having a glass of chocolate milk instead of having a glass of chocolate milk and chocolate cookies, that's a big positive change for him. If you could just do that daily, that's a good change. It's not good that he's still having a glass of chocolate milk every day, but you've eliminated the 6 cookies that go along with it. Sometimes little victories like that is what you need to focus on. Like you said, small changes building up into bigger goals, So I don't disagree with you at all. But yeah, I might have to get outside of the box and get a little bit more creative with the thinking and stuff and changing the mentality. Introducing just small, healthy changes, I think is smart. I think you're right. So, but anywho, are you ready to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow-up question for you.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for not really wanting kids, Elo?
No, I wasn't calling you out on that. I just was like, the way I was saying it was like, I was saying it like a nanny boo boo thing. So it's like the way it was coming out. So I just ran with it, No, man. Nobody, listen, if you want to have kids, great. If you don't, yeah, you're an asshole and you're selfish and you're only thinking of yourself and not for the population of the world. And you've ruined your family dynamic and, the possible healthy future of you and a woman together, not having a traditional family, Pop. But I don't have big thoughts on this, Pop. I don't feel a certain way about it. You can do whatever you want. I'm just kidding. I am so not traditional like that. I'm just using the arguments from the other side that I've heard. Everybody, hey, I don't know about you, Pop, but I know I live in America, okay? If you want to get married and have kids and do all that, that's your freedom to do so. I mean, if you can find someone who will put up with your shit, and want to procreate with you. But if you want to be single and own cats or a dog or just have a partner or have 2 partners or 8 partners, I don't give a shit. As long as you're not hurting anybody, my thing is it's everybody's pursuit of happiness is different. Let them express themselves however they want. So if you're happy, you find happiness doing that, then Puff, you can be childless the rest of your life. I'm not going to judge you, but there may be others. There always will be others. But like if we were in a post-apocalyptic world, I might be like, hey man, can you at least donate some sperm?
I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? Because the opinion can change one way, but once you ring that bell, you really can't unring it, right? So it's like, oh, no, yeah, and then you can't go back to no.
Here's what else I've learned about life is that not every parent should be a parent, all right? Not every person should have kids. I think we can all recognize who those people are in our lives or, just in general, like, hey, maybe this one should. And that doesn't always mean that they're a bad person. I've known plenty of people that are really good people that are just like perpetually college students though. And I would shudder to think like, or even high school. And I would shudder to understand what they're like. And we're not even talking about people who get hooked on drugs or anything like that, which is a whole nother ball game, like I just think we all recognize that not everybody needs to be a parent. So, and like, that's okay. That's fine. But it's also totally fine if you're totally capable and you just don't want to. That's cool too. Because my daughter just turned 10. So I'm a little more than halfway through my prison sentence is what I say. She'll be 18 soon and then I'll be free again. But I love being a dad. It's definitely its own unique thing. Anyways.
Joke's on you. I think the average age of children living with their parents right now is well into the 20s.
What's funny is we've always told my daughter that she can stay with us as long as she wants. We love having her here. Like I joke, but like if that might not be good for her development, but I don't care. I love her and I want her to be here as long as she wants to be. I don't mind. I love it. She can do whatever she wants with her life. She wants to hang with us. Hey, that's cool. You come hang with us, till you're ready. Or maybe not, who knows? We'll see. She makes the calls on that one. Okay.
All right. Last but not least, brother.
Am I the asshole for warning people about a potential scammer? I mean, no. Recently I was...
All right, episode over. We're out.
Yeah, no, you're not. Recently I was contacted by someone who warned me about a man I had hired to do some work. This guy was new in town, offering cheap rates to build his business and seemed really nice and professional. At first, I had a hard time believing anything bad about him, but the person who contacted me sent all sorts of proof that this guy had a shady past, including pending legal action for defrauding 30 businesses. That's big. Apparently, after getting caught, he just moved here to start a new life. I appreciated the heads up and decided to stop working with him. However, I soon noticed that this guy was already working with several other businesses in our area. I figured they might want to know the information I was giving, so I reached out to 3 of the businesses I knew. One thanked me, but went on about how great his work was and didn't fire him. The other 2 actually got upset and blocked me. To make matters worse, they apparently told him, and now he's accusing me of stirring up drama and trying to ruin his business along with the businesses he's working with. I've known these people for years. We worked in a tight-knit community and there's never been any drama between us. Am I the asshole for trying to warn them? Is this really just causing me is this really just me causing drama? ? Wouldn't I be the asshole if I said nothing and allowed a potential criminal to take advantage of people in our community? This is one of those things where you only got to care so far. I mean, I don't think you're an asshole for warning anybody. If you have been shown substantial and real documents that show that there was, like legal action for defrauding 30 businesses, and you see this person take up residence in your town or city or village or whatever the hell, and you see them getting to work and you want to make people aware of it, that's, I think, totally fine. I think that you need to be aware of how you're making them aware of that, and then their response after you've made them aware of that. If you go, hey, this person over here, they've bitten off 30 people's arms. You might want to be careful. That person could bite off your arm. And the person says, well, I don't know, seems nice to me. Then you just got to go, all right, well, hope you stay safe. I'll see you at the next town hall or whatever, you know? And if they show up without an arm, that's not on you. That has nothing to do with you at that point. You've done your due diligence. You've warned them. You let them know they're adults. They make big boy choices and big girl choices for themselves. And if they end up losing an arm, that's not on you. You didn't do it. You did your due diligence. You did your thing. And if that's it. What I'm concerned about here is that two people blocked you that you said you've known for years or been like tight-knit community. So where are you drawing the line at warning them? You know, because there can be pushes that are too far, like where this guy's bitten off 30 arms, you might want to be careful. And they go, okay, well, thanks for the heads up, I think we'll be all right. And you go, well, that's not good enough for me. You know, maybe I should report you guys to the Better Business Bureau because you're hiring him. You know, like, this warning can get a little crazy. So I want to, it's like, if I were to talk to this person, I'd be like, what actions have you actually taken in their entirety? You know, to say, hey, this person sees dangerous. You look like you got something to say.
Yeah. You toe the line from good faith to slander, right? You know, there could be so many things, right? Like perhaps it's the wrong person. Really, I think that the way that this wasn't handled, which was the way that it should have been, was just, hey, this information came to me. Do with it what you will.
Right.
Sounds like they tried to be forceful
Right.
with it. If they ended up blocked about it, especially if it's people that you know for quite a while.
2 out of 3, right? Is what they were saying. Right. Yeah. 3 businesses, 2 of them blocked you and got upset.
Yeah. So, you know, I perhaps, you know, this person has evolved their scam, as so to say, and, you know, is long conning them, you know, making them think that, you know, they're you know, the top of the Ponzi scheme or whatever it is. And this person's right, but either way, you know, if you feel that strongly, then why don't you just turn it over to the authorities and say this is who they're working with, and then have them investigated?
Yeah, that was my other thing.
Strongly.
Yeah, just go to the authorities. Like you know, at some things, again, you got to know what you can and can't control. All right, you're not going to control these 3 businesses, or you're not going to control this guy defrauding him. You can't even control whether or not he is arrested or ends up in jail or is punished or justice is given in a lot of these cases. You, in many cases, have to just give the information over to the people who can make these calls and can do these things and are professionals in these fields, and let them make these calls for you and do what they must. So if you're really feeling that raw about it, and you know, think that what's happening is criminal in nature, and you think he's a criminal, and you've got this information, get with the authorities, 100%. Let the authorities know. And then you just need to learn to let go too. You know, like, you decided not to work with this guy. You've already made that decision. Okay, cool. You distance yourself from him. Probably smart, depending on, you know, it sounds like from the information that you're getting. But that's you. You did what you did for you. You took care of you, you know? And now you're trying to take care of everybody else, and that's fine. But I think that there are definitely limitations on that. So let them know, or let the authorities know. Say, hey, this is what it is. This is what I heard. Make a report, whatever, and then move on with your life. And, you know, you just try not to get too involved, because sometimes what I think can happen, and what maybe be happening here, is sometimes, especially when you're a little bit older, or you're bored or whatever, a nice little bit of juicy drama and excitement can enter your life, and that you can have like a little. I've definitely known people that thrive on drama, right? You give them a little helping, and then it becomes a whole entree. They build a whole restaurant, you know. So
yeah, gossipers are my ick.
Yeah. So there's definitely that type of person too, you know. And some of these people need to learn when that just becomes about that just becomes about the excitement, the adrenaline rush of the drama. That becomes about them. That becomes about, So if that's the case here, I'm not surprised if a couple people block them. It's all about tact, right? You got to have good tact. As long as you have good tact, you're good. As long as you, say your thing, do your due diligence, are kind and peaceful with people and helpful with people, and know when to back off, it's going to get you a long way in situations like that and like this. That's it. Take into account that, whoever let also could be somebody who has it out for this person also. These things do exist where this person maybe is an ex or whatever, and this could be completely made up. This could be a targeted, like, actual libel kind of stuff, So, know your sources, because it sounds like if you were just to hire this person, recently I was contacted by somebody who warned me about a man I'd hired to do work. That doesn't sound like a confidence, like that sounds like a random person reaching out to you and going, I know this guy, you're not going to want to work with him because blah, 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 blah. Which is kind of how you sound to other people when you're making them aware, and I do think you have to take into account that some people hold grudges, deep, hateful, ugly grudges, and will do a lot to ruin other people's lives. So you also have to be extremely confident about the information that you're putting forward. If you're going to be especially to the authorities, or you're gonna use cop time, then you got to make sure that what you're saying, what you're giving them, is actually on the up and up. So yeah, that's what I would say, is just like, be mindful of where you're getting this information. Maybe do your own research, look into this guy a little bit. Maybe ask the person for, several of the businesses that he worked with that is claiming being defrauded in the past. You can probably ring them up pretty easy. If this person's willing to say they have 30 businesses, they could provide you the names of 3, 4, or 5 of them. You can call them up and ask them yourselves, get their take on it. None of that was presented here. If I really cared this much, I would have probably asked that person who reached out to me, hey, do you have examples of businesses that you defrauded? Like in your hometown or something? And they would come, oh, well, he worked with Home Depot and he did this to Lowe's and he did that. I would probably just ring those places up and just be like, hey, this guy, he worked. If I cared this much, I would probably not care this much. But I would definitely, my first step would be into solidifying the information I'm being given by a stranger to begin with, because I might get on the phone with them and they go, oh, you're talking about, Steve. Yeah, Steve went through a really bad divorce. Yeah, that sounds like Linda. Yeah, she calls up here 5 times a day. Like that kind of thing, that exists, So give people the benefit of the doubt if you're going to go this deep with it. But yeah, do your due diligence is the big thing here. I would just be I would walk very carefully. I would walk, if I did decide to walk this, it would be a very slow pace. It'd be very methodical. And I would really pick and choose my times to, say what I'm going to say about this person who I typically don't even know, if I feel like I'm trying to help somebody else out, There's only so far you can go with that, and there's only so much you can expect out of people whenever you do it. And you got to go and do it with the mindset that they could do anything with this information, and try to be at peace with that. Whether that's they listen to you or don't. You just can't obsess. Yeah. This seems a little obsessed now, just a little bit. Maybe a good time to back off is when you're asking, is this really just me causing drama? ? Like, I think that is a little telling in and of itself. Like, you can't answer that yourself. You know your own intentions. You know your heart. If you're coming to us to ask us if you're really causing drama and you don't know that for yourself, like, you can't confidently go, no, I'm not. Like, then maybe there's some room here that, yeah, maybe you do enjoy this drama a little bit. Like, I don't know. That's kind of where I land on it.
Yeah, I think that they, kind of my original take on it is kind of still where I stand on it is, be careful not to slander somebody. Just kind of forward some stuff and let people form their own opinion. Don't try to force your opinion on other people. Let them decide. And if they end up the sucker, they were warned. And if they're right and this guy is doing legitimate business at this point, then good for them.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe this person did all of that. Maybe they went through arbitration. Maybe they have made changes in their life, and maybe they're trying to do better and be on the up and up. You just never know. You just doesn't sound like the level of. I guess I'll say as the last closing thought is that the level of attention that this person has put into what this other person is doing and reaching out and everything doesn't really match to me, the level of where they got the information from to begin with. Does that make sense? Do you get what I'm saying when I say that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's kind of where I'm at, is maybe there's a discrepancy here. Maybe you just, pump the brakes a little bit and you did your best, and okay, it's time to move on. It's literally no skin off their back anymore. Right. So, you can only do so much to help other people,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, well, cool. I think that's about it. Those are the stories today. That second story is still, I'm probably going to like spend the rest of the night just doing whatever, playing my video game, hanging out with my family, and it's going to pop into my head again. I'm going to be like rethinking about this situation. I know myself well enough to know that at some point in the next couple of days, I'm going to be like getting deep down into researching exactly what like negligence looks like when it comes to like overfeeding or giving bad nutrition. I'm probably going to go on a thing with that. So we'll see what happens there. That story was that was crazy. That one had me a little.
Yeah, that one hit home a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we're linemen. Like I like you say, we're linemen. That's a good way to put it, man. That's a good way to put it.
We're always in shape, but it's not always good.
Yeah, I'm in a shape, that's for sure. Anywho, well, if you did make it this far, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Like I said, it's just our new buddy podcast that we're just trying to get off the ground. So anytime you guys share this with anybody or listen to it or watch it, maybe at work or at home or whatever, it helps us out. We really appreciate it. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful and beautiful day. I guess at the end of every episode, it's become a thing now to ask Poff if he's got any life advice for you guys. You got anything this time? Did you prepare?
Oh. So I didn't prepare, but I started thinking about it in the past 2 minutes, right? So we're,
Go on. Tell us your deep thoughts that are well thought out and definitely.
Sure. So in life, you're going to be surrounded by naysayers or people who are going to support you blindly, right? Take the time to identify those people, identify your true friends by the ones who will give you rough or harsh feedback as well as support you, and identify the ones that will be fair weather friends. But ultimately, bet on yourself. Take the risks that you need to take. Don't be afraid of change, right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable and bet on yourself.
I like it. That was really good. Really good off the cuff.
All right.
Nicely done. All right. You guys have a good day. Take care. And we'll see you guys next episode. The 5-episode extravaganza. Huge celebration. Not really. Just regular shit. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Have a good one.